Welcome back, Whoa, sorry. Oh, there we go. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Here we are for our next chess game. And this one's a little bit of an easier game, but there's a couple of different times where I'm able to put to use the things that I'm really trying to work on. So I guess I just wanted to have a game to showcase a couple of examples of what I'm thinking of. And sometimes when you make a good move, good things just happen. And sometimes when you make a good move, maybe your opponent is just bad and it makes it look like it was a joke, but whatever. So this game, I am on the bottom, so I am whites, leading off with Queen's Gambit, and it gets accepted, which I like. I always prefer when they do that. One of these days I'll play good players that don't accept it, and I'll have no idea what to actually do, so that's fine. But then again, just like last game, people like doing random fianchettos against me. I've never, in all the time I've played Queen's Gambit, I never see them fianchetto after accepting. It's just, I've never seen it, and apparently neither has the website either. Saw it one time, and white won that game. Grandmaster back in 90 freaking, holy crap, 27 years ago. Happened only once in a high-level game. Not Grandmaster game, what am I talking about? And white won that one as well, so I suppose that's good news for me, but I don't know necessarily what that means yet. I just know that I haven't seen it before, and it's probably for a reason. So I take the pawn, he pops out, and just going to defend the square. He's got two pieces attacking it, so I need to make sure I have two pieces defending it, taking sort of all control of the position that I can. He jumps his knight out, which is normal for a King's Indian sort of position, but normally you don't jump a knight out when I've got a pawn right here that can just chase it away. So not only am I able to chase it away and force him to waste time and tempo and putting it in a bad position, I also now slam the door on this bishop. He's now going to be staring into a brick wall for a very long time. He's not going to want to push this pawn because that's just going to make for an ugly position. And the whole point of these pieces in this position like this is to be very strong defensively. So that's already very strong for me. So jumps his knight away. It's a nice advancing square. He can at least do stuff with it. But he's only got one piece defending it. So I'm going to attack it with two pieces and see what we can do from there. He defends it, but at least with the way he defends it, he's now blocking off his other knight from its happiest square. So he's cramping himself in a little bit, and I just need to find ways to take advantage. So I've got two pieces, he's got two pieces, and he's kind of stuck in there. Maybe I can just develop more pieces, and I'm now really attacking three guys on this in major combination. All of my teammates, whatever, they're all working together. That's interesting. We've had 3 games in this position, but only 1 game in an earlier position, so we transposed into something totally else, but still a major advantage for me, and that's fine. So he castles, which is good, because defense and things and, whatever. And then I decide, look, I've got 3 pieces on this guy, which means I'm going to win the pawn, so I may as well win when I can. Jump in, take it, got it, and now this pawn is in a little bit of duress as well. If he wants to move his bishop anywhere, I'm just going to take this pawn and then take his rook. So this guy's kind of stuck. He's probably just going to jump the horse up there, since I have 2 pieces attacking it anyway. Whether he moves the bishop or not, he can't do anything. So he's got to move the horse out, but he doesn't. He decides to pin my horse to... Wait a second. The queen's not there. So I'm not quite sure what he was hoping for. There's no pin because the queen's not there. It's doubly protected. I guess he didn't see that he could have just developed his horse. Maybe he didn't want to trade because he would get some ugly pawns. They would be ugly, but at least he would have them. Whereas this just totally gave me all the time and space that I wanted. So I'm not worried about this threat whatsoever. Eventually I'll chase it away, and that's just as good. I don't really care. But anyway, I digress. Now I've got 2 pieces attacking this guy, and even when one of them takes them, I'm still going to be double defending that guy. So really no worry whatsoever. I guess I would lose my defense of this piece if the queen wanted to jump in here after trading away for the knight. I suppose that's fair, but I'm going to get some more stuff for it in combination in return anyway. So a couple different options. You could take with the queen or you could take with the bishop. I chose to take with the bishop. If I could play this again, I would take with the queen, and we'll see why. So I take with bishop, he moves the horse out, and I'm just going to jump right on in and take the rook while I can before it moves away and does nasty things. He proceeds to trade with the queen. Now, if I had taken with the queen, and my queen was here, he moves the horse out, and if I take, and then he takes, then I'd also be able to take and trade the queens completely off. His rook would go over here. I would probably end up getting doubled pawns, or maybe at this point it's simplified enough where I would just defend. Hell, I could even, if I wanted, just move the bloody horse and not have to worry about this whatsoever. So the board would be really simplified. The queens would be off. I'd be up a pretty significant amount. And then I'd be able to just kind of progress and play from there with the lead I already have and slowly choke it away. Instead, with the position as it is, now he has 2 pieces attacking my knight. And yeah, I've got 2 pieces defending it, but one of them is a pawn that's about to get doubled. So I would avoid that while removing the queens. And they're both going to result to a win most likely, as long as you don't blunder something away. But if I could do it again, I think I would have done it with the queen to simplify the board. Generally, when you're in the lead, you want to get rid of pieces to kind of make your lead proportionately bigger. You know, if you're leading by 2 pawns, but there's 30 points on the board, or if you're leading by 2 points and there's 7 points on the board, that 2 points is a lot bigger in the second, more simplified position. So I just castle because I figure, I guess whatever, if I have to double a pawn, I have to double a pawn. I want to get this rook out and doing things, and so be it, whatever, I don't care. It's not going to be the worst doubled pawn in the world because I do have a nice connected chain at least, a nice island. They'd be able to make some sort of attacks and still be okay, so it wouldn't be the worst. There's not going to be any more light squared or diagonal attackers if we go through these combinations. So having this square and being a little weak and vulnerable and open, I guess not the worst thing in the world. He really would just have a rook and a knight to kind of mess around with me, but I'd be set. So I just castle, accepting my fate. He takes, I take, but he doesn't. So I guess my thought is, usually when you're losing, you don't want to simplify. You need as many pieces as you can get to try and work out a combination to get back into the game and take the lead. So I guess he figured keeping the queen is more important than me doubling my pawn, which works out great for me because I would like to have my queen too, so that's fantastic. And now, like I mentioned before, so earlier in this video, we focused on having multiple pieces combine into one square, or multiple pieces combine into one square when he doesn't have enough defenders, and so far in both cases it resulted in us taking material, winning material, and going up in advance. And then like last video, we learned that attacking unprotected pieces and weak squares are really good. So we've already done one of those things, now let's try and focus on the other. Are there any unprotected pieces on this board right now? That guy, that guy. Okay, pawns aren't exactly pieces, but they're unprotected and they're material that I can take. Is there any way that these two are related? Maybe this square? Alright, also this square. How can I get to that square? Boom. So I'll be attacking 2 unprotected pawns. I'm gonna win one of them yet again. So he probably should have traded queens. Even though he's losing, he probably should have. So that's fine. He protects one of them by locking down these guys, which is fine, because that's what I would prefer anyway. Just keep these here to shut your bishop out of the game completely. Can't even go there because of my undeveloped, worthless bishop. So that's all just fine and dandy. And I would gobble up this pawn. Super invasive queen right in his face. And now he decides to thrust up. I mean, I guess that's fine. I don't know if he was aware of en passant or not. You are able to capture on this square. If a pawn's first move is a double square push and it goes beyond your pawn's ability to take, if it had only moved just one square, there's a rule called en passant, which is French for in passing. You are able to actually capture on this square, but only the very immediate turn after they double push. I chose against it because this is a really strong little fortification in the middle, shutting down his bishop. If I just traded here, then I have an isolated pawn in the middle, and it frees up some space for him. So I let him have this little whatever going on. It didn't really bother me at all. So instead, I finally decided to develop my bishop, get it kind of in his face a little bit. I would like, I suppose, to have it up here, maybe trade some of these pieces away and simplify. It's going to mess up my pawn structure to do so, but I also wanted to connect the rooks to get them start to play. All of this time I've been winning without using my rooks at all, which I guess is a really good sign. So he further weakens his structure by moving things around, and I decide to jump in and attack a superior piece. I'm unprotected, which, whatever, but I know he's just going to move to one of these two squares, and then I will be able to sit on a good little island for my dark square bishop, and then it'll be really hard for him to sort of capture anything. I would like to probably sit on the bottom, because this guy's at least guarded by the pawn. This guy's not guarded by anything other than the queen right now, so I think I would like to have my bishop here. It's still staring into his queen area, and then all of these guys are just nice and super strong, super defended in the middle, and that's fine. But it does block off the open file if I were to do that. So first, I want to do a little in-between move. Obviously, he could take my bishop, but if he can take a bishop, I could take a queen. And that would not be a good trade for him, especially because the queen is in line with the king. Anytime you see a major piece in the same line or the same diagonal with the king like that, it's usually really good to put a lot of pressure on it. If you get a rook over here, it's pinned and you're going to win whatever the piece is. So, or if it's a bishop on, a diagonal like that, it's pinned, you're going to win the piece. So if he's attacking a piece of my own, I'm going to attack something of greater value to him to give me that extra little turn. I wanted to try to take advantage of this open file first before I close it. And then I just decided, you know what, I'd rather not close it after all, because I'm in control. I have the space, I have the double rooks. Let's get this battery going. I really still want to get a rook down here because I have this opportunity available to win the queen. I just need a little bit of extra help on this square. Let's see. So anyway, after all that little stuff, he did get himself into a position for a discovered attack on my queen. So he's able to take one of these pawns because I don't have time to take it back. So it's a good tactic. It's a good idea. It's just not quite going to work for him because unfortunately what I wanted was to move my queen. So spoilers, that's how I get two pieces on this square so I can win your queen. So now you have to defend against this game-ending move. At the same time, you've got this guy who's about to drop for nothing. So there's not a way for him to defend against both. If you just move the king, then you're going to lose the horse, and then it's going to be super strong right here. I guess if you try to move the queen, all right, then you're going to lose. Like basically, if you're responding to the greater threat, you're going to lose out. So maybe you could move here, but I still have multiple pieces aiming down on it. So I'd still be able to just take it. At least he would then be able to get the pawn in compensation, but he wouldn't totally lose. No, he wouldn't even be able to do that because my threat is still alive. So I take it back. There's just nothing he can do. I don't know if this was a total blunder or if he just kind of realized there's nothing he could do. Maybe he thought I would take it with the queen, and then it's not as bad. We just trade queens and he can run away, no big deal, and then take the pawn. Maybe he thought I would try and defend this guy first. I don't know. Maybe it was just a total blunder. Maybe he stopped caring at this point. But he gives me the horse, and now at this point the game is basically over. But I was able to identify multiple times of when I could make some good combinations on his pieces and attack them. I was able to make good offense when I identified unprotected pieces, and then I was able to find positional weaknesses and other tactics with pins, using major pieces and more combination squares. So I basically was able to do everything that I'm working on all in this game at the same time. So I was just really proud of it, even though it ended up being a little bit of an easy dub, easy victory. He actually resigned after this move. I'm still pretty proud of all of those that it's what I'm looking at. Maybe on one hand you could say he made bad moves and worked his way into them, but at some point people are not going to make the correct computer move. So if you're making good moves on your own, they're going to pay off at some point. And yes, when your opponent blunders a piece, it makes it look like, well, that's just because he sucked, so who cares if I won? I beat a bad player who blundered. Well, no, you're going to blunder sometimes too. And sometimes it just happens. When they make a good move, you have to commend it, and they deserved it. So at this point, I kind of ran out of ideas. I didn't know how to attack. My pieces are no longer coordinated, but I figured I've got these extra pawns. Let's just start marching them up here. If I have no idea what to do, let's get an extra queen. But he resigned right after this point, and that was all she wrote. So let's go all the way back, and let's see what the computer thinks of how these things were going through. Standard moves. Wait a second. Where's my arrows? There we go. My arrows and my graph over here. So I just realized that this is not taking up a full screen. There's a little bit of extra space on it. Alright, well, we'll just do that. So, take, blah, 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 normal stuff. Wants me to take. It doesn't particularly like that. The game wants me to put my queen here first, because if he does take, I have a much more powerful capture. Puts him in check, and then he either blocks himself off. Actually, that would really be all he could do. He has to block himself off, stunting those two pieces and kind of the horse as well, but not really. By putting his king right out here in the fat middle area. And then who knows how I could really take advantage of it from there. Maybe a couple of the knight moves away, perhaps, to really start putting on some additional pressure. Or maybe even at that point, just moving my queen, putting him in check. Actually, would that just be checkmate? Would that be checkmate? Oh, no, he can go here. Why did I not think he could go there? Okay, never mind. I was thinking if he went here, yeah, that's just checkmate. So, okay, never mind. But he can go to this square. But regardless, overall, that's pretty freaking strong for me. Would I really want to take this horse right here? Seriously? The game really thinks I should. I would want to develop my own piece, scare this guy off, castle, and then maybe move my rook over on the open file. Oh, that's why it wants me to take the horse. Okay, because if we look at the weakness that he developed by pushing this pawn, my bishop going here would be game ending. Unfortunately, the horse is guarding it, so it wants me to take that. Oops. My queen still has these light squares, so my bishop now has these dark squares. Unfortunately, this bishop is no longer blocking that one, but he's still in quite a world of hurt. And you just have all sorts of space and time to do all sorts of nice, fancy combinations. Ooh, this would be sneaky. If you wanted to take the bishop, I would take the rook. Could do that, and then I'm attacking two different pieces. And anyway, none of that happened, even remotely. So that was just what it wanted me to do, and instead I developed to defend my square. Not the greatest move, bringing the knight out, being forced to run away a little bit. But now I see it just for a totally different reason. I was combining on the knight. I wasn't combining on that pawn, but good to know in the future. If somebody does Queen's Gambit accepted on you and then fianchettos, you'll never see it. But if so, just throw the queen out there. Defends it the only way he can. Oh, nice. I love when I make the computer move. Wait, what? Really? H4? Why? Why? No. Castles. Stop it. Engines love H4 and they love A4. I don't get it. Stop. I'm not doing it. Let's win that pawn. Yeah, he really should just bring the knight out. That would block me. I'd only have one piece on it. He'd have one piece on it. It'd be a little bit of an ugly pawn structure, but at least he would have his pawns. So he didn't do that. He ran all the way over here. Yeah, it says queen is a little bit better. Because then what? I mean, if he takes, I would just take. This rook is still mine. He jumps over here. I can still take. You can just trade a million pieces. Takes back, and now I could run the horse away if I wanted. If I didn't want to double the pawn, I could do whatever. So that's fine. But none of those happened. It worked out in my favor, taking with the bishop. But that's basically all she wrote. Yeah, you're supposed to take here, and he didn't take. Basically all she wrote. Oh, I made the computer move again. And that's game, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go, 19.5 minutes, got it under 20. A little bit of a quicker game for you, and a game that identified multiple things that we were really trying to focus on, and I'm just really proud that I was able to make it happen and get the W. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you'll stick around for some more chess, and I will catch you later. Take it easy, everybody. Peace.